liebe Zuschauer, Applaus und Willkommen. Please give a warm welcome to our special guest, who is from Ehrengast, Isabella Krapf. Isabella, hi, how are you? How is Vienna today?
It's very hot.
Really?
But yeah, right. 30 degrees. So.
Well, I was going to crack a joke and say it means nothing to me, but that would be only people of a certain age would get that if you're in Vienna. But there we go. So who do you have with you today, Isabella?
This is Karol Berki. This is my guitarist.
Grüß Gott.
Hi.
He's from Hungary.
Okay, I don't speak Hungarian.
There's Jonapot. So today we will have some basic harmonica techniques. I will talk about breathing techniques because I know that most of the players, many players have problems with that, and about fluently playing, about playing legato, and very basic harmonica techniques. So it's for beginners and intermediate players who are not really satisfied with that technique yet.
Fantastic. Isabel, I'll just quickly introduce you to my colleague Sam Spranger.
Yeah.
So I'm going to disappear backstage for a little while and leave you in Sam's safe hands. So once again, thank you, willkommen, vielen Dank, and do tell us all about your Bossa Nova and harmonica chromatic information. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, everybody. Again, thank you, Isabella, for joining us. Folks, just before we begin, just some ground rules. If you have any questions for Isabella, do please just put them in the chat and I will ask Isabella at an appropriate moment. If people start unmuting themselves, it all becomes a little bit messy, so please just stay muted. Please keep the chat just for positive feedback and for like I said, appropriate questions. Yesterday, we did have somebody trying to self-promote in the chat. I won't tolerate that. It's Isabella's chance. You shouldn't be trying to promote your own music on a free festival, so I will be warning and then removing if I see any of that. It was very nice of Richard to say well done to all the team, but modest man that he is, he left himself and our new chairman Pete Hewitt out. Both of those guys have done fantastic work in terms of the rebranding, and I think they deserve my favorite thing, which is a silent applause all of a sudden. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of silent applauses for Isabella. Isabella's been playing for performing, teaching, and acting as a chromatic harmonica historian for more than 23 years. And I'm going to stop talking and just let her get on with things now. Okay? Thank you very much.
Hello and welcome. This was a little Bossa Nova, and today I want to talk about harmonica basics, because I've been around a lot on festivals and harmonica meetings, and I did a lot of workshops there, and I found out that a lot of people have problems with very simple technical things like breathing and fluently playing and sliding on the mouthpiece and these kind of things. So that's my main topic today for you if you're a beginner or an intermediate player or not satisfied with your technique. So that's the topic today. The harmonica is a breathing instrument. That means that you have to breathe out and breathe in, not only to make a sound, but to get enough air for surviving, basically. So the problem is, if you have a breathing problem and you're not feeling well while breathing, you cannot really make the sound and the melody and whatever you want to do, because you're always fighting with your technique and your breathing technique, and the rest, like the melody or the phrasing, comes second. So the most people have problems with breathing in. And why is that? It's because we're really used to breathing out a lot and long, because speaking and singing is all with breathing out. So we are pretty good at breathing out and breathing out long and while speaking or a long note, but we are not really good with breathing in. So when I go to harmonica meeting, I see a lot of, I take my other harmonica now, I see a lot of things like people like with the shoulders up here and breathing in just here. So what basically happens is that you breathe in a lot in the first half of a second, and then you're kind of full, and the breath is not really deep, and the breath is not really deep, and then you cannot really hold a long note, and you cannot really do something with that note, because you are like this, and you're really fighting with the breathing. So the first thing I always recommend, if somebody has problems with that, is to just try very soft notes, breathing in and breathing out, and record maybe these notes and see if they're regular. If the breathe in note is louder and sharper and shorter than the breathe out note, then it's not really the right technique. So what I also don't like in the schools is that they all, in the books, is that they always talk about blow and draw notes, because that's really the draw is like this, but if you're thinking about breathing in, it's more like this, and you will have a better technique. And the reeds are very little, so they will come immediately when you just breathe. And if you have a tight harmonica, it comes at once with very little air. So it doesn't need so much air and not so much pressure, as most people think. So the first thing is that you so the breathe in note has to be as soft and as tender and as long as the breathe out note. And also that's the reason why a lot of people have a problem with playing legato and playing a soft melody, because if you have like these things in between, you cannot play legato. So I always advise people to really play simple notes, simple melodies, and just try to have the breathe in note really as soft and tender as the breathe out note. And we did Mania de Carnaval at the beginning, and I also you also have a PDF where you can try it for yourself. If you're a beginner, maybe it's a little bit difficult, but I mean, you can try the first first 4 bars or 3 bars. I also have it with numbers. The circle means breathe in, and the cross means the button. So the slide. So when we try again Mare di Carnaval, a beginning, Mare di Carnaval, station. So we have a very long breathe-in note here. So the important thing is that the shoulders are down and you really are not sucking in the note and you're not drawing in the note, but you're just breathing in the note. And what I also see a lot is that people have this kind of thing. Like when they breathe in, it's not this kind of development of a note. It's like this. That means that you're not having the right technique, and you really have to work on that. That becomes regular and not like with a tremolo. So you really have to. It also helps a lot if you to reduce the pressure, especially with low notes, to have your nose open. You know, there's a connection, and also to have no pressure extra with your tongue. So if you have your tongue like too high or like with a lot of pressure, then the note is also not coming that easy, and you don't have the volume also for the low notes, and especially for the breathe-in notes. We tried it again. Mari di Carnaval. Okay, so the breathing is a little bit complicated with the harmonica. It's the nose, it's here, and it's the deep breathing also. So that it's the whole body. That is breathing. So the most important thing is when you breathe and when you breathe in, that your shoulders are not doing this. If your shoulders are doing this, so the breathing is only here and it's not really deep, and you're struggling the whole piece with that. So basically, it's always a try for you. How little air, how little pressure, how little air you need to get a sound, because the reeds are very tiny, as I said, and even if you're not on the instrument, if you're away from the instrument, it already comes. Yeah, so it would be a good advice to first try how little air you need to get a sound, because then with that you can work on having long notes, having phrasing, having whatever you want. But the first thing is to figure out when the note is coming, how little pressure you need, how little air you need. Because if your breathing is okay and you're feeling good with breathing, then you can work on everything else. If your breathing is not good, you're struggling the whole piece and you cannot play what the way you want, like this way. So the second thing with breathing is that you have to use one breath for many notes. Like when I play, I try to connect whatever is in the same breathing direction. Like when I have like 3 notes that are breathing out, I connect it with one breath. And there are people that I know from the meetings, and they're trying to play everything extra with extra breathing and extra and that costs a lot of energy and a lot of breathing, and it's not necessary. So like when I have this Monia de Carnaval, I play the B and the A with the same breath. And I can play it 10 times, 15 times because of that. If I play it extra, if I play it costs a lot of energy and it's not that convenient, and I could certainly not do long notes with that. So what else? It's also important when you play, even when you play a simple melody, that it's regular, that you have the feeling that breathing out, breathing in is the same intention. Sometimes I can even hear when I'm at the meeting that the breathing notes from people are louder and with more pressure and not that long, like the breathe out notes. And that is why the melody is not going to be legato, and it's not going to be regular. It's like a little bit yeah, it's not fluently. It's not, that's the basic thing. So if you have like the ending of Mania de Carnaval, which is a very good possibility to practice, you have like this. So you have a lot of breathe in, breathe out, whatever. It just in between these few notes, but it's not so easy to play that fluently. So it's like it's a slight light thing. So you have to really. So the breathe in note has to be really soft and has to come immediately after the other note. So the other thing why legato is not working is not only that the breathe-in note is louder or with a lot of pressure, it's also when there is a pause in between one note and the other. Then you have not a legato. If you have a note and then you have a break and then you have another note, this is not legato. So another way to practice that is, for instance, with that last part of Mania de Carnaval, that you try to have every note very quickly, very quick, without a break from the other note, but very soft. And that is the main thing, because people are getting like they're like getting nervous because they play something that's fast and they don't have to, no break is allowed or whatever, and then they start to suck in the note because they're kind of nervous, and that's again when you cannot have a legato with that. So when you have this very slow, so that would be a nice thing to practice. Even a beginner can practice this last part. It's just a few notes, but to see if your technique is getting somewhere, if you have a regular technique and it's have a smooth sound and it's legato and there's no break in between and whatever. So that is a good thing. So we play a second tune for you. It's the Girl from Ipanema. That's Krapf from Ipanema. We also have this as a PDF, also with numbers again.
Yeah,
And-
which I'll just get Dave to share the PDF now.
Okay.
Yeah, lovely playing, lovely playing.
So this is only one sheet with numbers. And another important thing that I always see on meetings with amateur harmonica players is that they don't slide on the mouthpiece. So when you have these new harmonicas, the new chromatics, there was a lot of development that focused especially on mouthpiece and how to make it round, and how to make it slidable, and how to make it smooth for the lips. So this is very round and very, very good. And the reason they invested so much in this topic is because it's very important that you feel good on the mouthpiece and that you slide on the mouthpiece. Because sliding means that you you're not losing energy. You're quickly there at the next note, and you don't lose any time for finding something. So it's very important that you slide on the mouthpiece. So what I see a lot in harmonica meetings when people play is that they go away all the time from the harmonica, and then they wonder why they don't find the right note. The reason why you don't find the right note because you don't know where it is. When you slide, it's so easy to find something, and it's so much more easier to remember where it is and to find it. And when you go away, you completely lose the connection with the instrument, and then it's a 50-50 chance that you might not find the note. It's very, very easy. And the other thing is that sliding is that not sliding is costing a lot of energy. That means if you go away and you're losing time. You're losing so much time if you go away and then you go there again and you try to find a note. So I advise everybody to practice in front of a mirror and look what they're doing. Like if you have this kind of thing, then it's not really a good way to play, because you will always lose time finding the next note, and you will not find the next note with the yeah, that's the girl from Ipanema now. So you will not find the next note, and that's the reason why it's important to slide. So basically, you should never really go away much from the harmonica. Whatever is near where you're just playing now, then you should stay on the harmonica and just slide. So the first thing that I always do with my harmonica students is that we're trying sliding on the harmonica, like. So, like the beginning from Ipanema is a good way to. There's a dog barking. Okay. The beginning is always from Ipanema is always good for sliding. So you go from 7 to 6 without going away and without an extra breath. You can do this with one breath, and there you have. So that's a very basic melody. It's not really complicated even for a beginner to practice that. But the topic here is sliding, so that you have one breath and you're really sliding. And another thing I see a lot with harmonica players is that they do something with their mouth. They have like a certain movement in here, like this. So this is also not really the best way to play harmonica, because when you have this in one, this is staying like this, and then you can easily find the notes. If you have so much movement in your lips and not one position, then it's very difficult to have to find the notes if you have movement here all the time, and also the mouth is getting broader, and then you have two notes instead of one, and all these kind of things. So again, try to practice in front of a mirror and see that there's not too much movement here in the lips, and also that you're not going away all the time from the instrument. So basically we're doing again this. Like this. So yeah, it was only the beginning. So the most important thing is that you try to slide things like, and you only need one breath. So you can play like if you're making it really good, then you can play 50 notes with one breath and sliding like. Also, this helps you a lot if you're a beginner to find the next note. It's perfect to practice how finding the next note. Where is the next hole? Where can I find the next note? This is a very good thing for beginners to practice the sliding, to get a good feeling for breathing, to get a feeling for sliding on the mouthpiece, and get a feeling where is the next note. So I always do this with my beginners. And now comes the other part. You have the same with breathing in. We already talked about breathing in, that it's not that easy like breathing out, but it's the same, would be the same technique. So if you want to practice something with breathing in, you have to breathe out first, because then you cannot breathe in. So you have to breathe out first, and then and then. And so on. So you saw that the shoulders were not coming up, and it was very soft and was one breath. So basically you can, if you had the wrong technique, you would do everything with extra breathing, you would do everything with going away or with some movement here. So from the moment you start to use just one breath whenever it's possible, and you're sliding on the mouthpiece without changing something here, then you have a really improvement for all of your pieces and your technique and whatever. So and everything will get really smooth. And now the difficult part is when you practice sliding, that it's not going to be sloppy, that you have it exactly the timing, and you have it exactly the way you want it to be, and it has to be irregular and not somehow sloppy and strange. So if you start slow with that, or yeah, and this should be very light, not something that costs energy. It should be very light. And if you have the feeling it's smooth and you're feeling good with that, then you have a very good basic for the right technique and the right breathing and the right sliding, and then you can focus on other things. You can focus on how to play something, how to play jazz, whatever you want. But this has to be there first, then you can focus on other things. Another thing is when I play double notes, when I play like several whatever G's or D's or whatever, I do it also with one breath, and I use my tongue to make the, and I cut the note from the other. So that's very complicated, but now I show what it is. It's like, Yeah, this is also from Ipanema. So I use in between the notes, like I have breathe in, six breathe in, and five, 3 times 5 breathe in. So I play the whole thing with one breath. I go from 6 to 5, from F to D. That's just sliding, one breath. And then I do the D with the tongue. It's like the, it's not the, not here. It's like here, the. And I do it like, and it's again when I have the C breathe out, it's again. So this saves a lot of breathing again, and it's really not difficult to play. If you play everything extra, then you cannot do it. If I try to, it's really not comfortable, and it doesn't even sound good. You have no legato with that. So the basic thing is that you always find out, how can I save energy, how can I save breath, how can I save time when I play harmonica, in meaning of not getting away from instrument too much. And also your lips have to slide on the mouthpiece. That's why we have all these new developments in the mouthpiece. So your lips cannot really slide if you're going away, because they're getting dry. They're really getting dry all the time. If you lick your lips a little bit, then you stay on the instrument a lot, then it will not get, you will not have these problems with dry lips. I have some students who are using olive oil to, yeah. I had even a student who was using this other oil that they're using for guns.
Oh
But
God.
he said it doesn't really taste good. So
No, yeah.
you have to be careful with that. Olive oil. But if you don't have any medical issues with that, and you really stay on the instrument, you lick your lips a little bit, you stay on the instrument, then there should not be a problem with lighting. So
just a quick question, sorry,
yeah.
Isabella. I take it you're puckering there in terms of your articulation.
Right.
Just a gentleman was asking David, is when you're playing pucker, are your lips relaxed, or are they pursed and tight like a trumpet player, or more just sort of relaxed?
Yeah. So my lips are in this position that I can really be perfectly on this it's really muscle work. It's like
Yeah, sure.
and I use tongue blocking only if I have to play chords, certain chords.
Sure.
So and I really found out. I know this is a big question, puckering or tongue blocking. This is a big, like, religion. I know.
I'm almost militant on this, in that I really think players should be able to do both.
Yeah.
And I don't think it should be an either this or that. I think, if you're a tongue blocker, fine, know that you prefer that, but you should be able to do both if you need to.
Right.
For me, it's like being a guitar player. I'm also a guitar player. You should know how to use a plectrum, but you should also know how to use your fingers. I don't think it should be, my way is right and your way is wrong.
Yeah. Right. What I found out with beginners is that tongue blocking is, for beginners, a little bit difficult.
Too hard.
They can really have a better start if they try this, because you have to have the feeling, whereas the tongue, and it's not really. I really when I do beginner session, I use and I don't use tongue blocking that much.
Sure.
Yeah.
One more question on the back of that is, the gentleman was asking on, you explained tonguing and articulation really well, I felt, but he was asking it how your embouchure just changes when you play low notes compared to how you play high notes on the instrument, because obviously high notes just require a little bit more thought, and maybe you could talk us through that.
Yeah. So a low note, most people have problems with the low notes. They play it with lots of pressure, and then it comes with a little bit of a bend and very slow. So like the F, the low F, the 2 F, 3 F, 4 F, 5 F, 6 F, 7 F, 8 F, 9 F, 10 F, 11 F, 12 F, 13 F, 14 F, 15 F, 16 F, 17 F, 18 F, 19 F, 20 F, 21 F, 22 F, 23 F, 24 F, 25 F, 26 F, 27 F, 28 F, 29 F, 30 F, 31 F, 32 F, 33 F, 34 F, 35 F, 36 F, 37 F, 38 F, 39 F, 40 F, 41 F, 42 F, 43 F, 44 F, 45 F, 46 F, 47 F, 48 F, 49 F, 50 F, 51 F, 52 F, 53 F, 54 F, 55 F, 56 F, 57 F, 58 F, 59 F, 60 F, 61 F, 62 F, 63 F, to breathe in. There's a big problem. That's a funny story. I'm working for a music store. I'm repairing harmonicas for a music store, and they will call me like 3 or 4 times a year. Somebody returns the harmonica and saying that the low notes are not working. The breathe in low notes are not working. Doesn't matter what sidle horn or whatever. And I always found out it's not the harmonica, it's the player. Always. So the thing that I do is when I play low notes is that I really open up here everything, the nose and everything, and then I. And again, this is down, and I try to make it really slow. And you can even make this slide thing with low notes. And what I always found out helpful for people who have problems with the low notes is that they try to play the chord. Because when they play the chord, they are kind of more open and they don't have that much pressure. And then when they play the chord, they get a feeling of how little air they need. And then they play the single note again. So this always helps. For the high note, you have a little bit more pressure and not that much open, but it's also not, you have to be careful not too much pressure again, because then the notes sound really, really bad, like a dog whistle. And so also you can try a chord with a high note. So you have the feeling how soft this also can work. So I always practice with chords. The people are a little bit more relaxed here, a little bit more open, and then they get the note quite good. Yeah,
that's really good advice. Thank you.
Any more questions?
We can save them for later. Please continue, and then
okay.
I can open it up again.
So that's the important thing. You have to find out how to save energy and pressure and time on the instrument, because as I said, I think most of the people have, like from amateur people from the meetings that I have been to, they use like double energy that they should, because also these new models are so airtight, and they don't you don't have to use pressure, you don't have to draw and blow and whatever. You have to just breathe in and breathe out, and there is the note coming, and that's the important thing. And of course there are very bad harmonica models also without wind savers and whatever. Don't buy these, because I know that most people say, well, I'm a beginner, I can handle whatever Chinese wind saverless harmonica for 30 euros, whatever. No, it's not true. If you are a beginner, you need a certain quality of harmonica, a certain quality of airtightness, and you need a really good mouthpiece. Because if you have a cheap harmonica and you need lots of air and it doesn't feel good, you will not continue playing harmonica, and you will have a really wrong technique after a very short time, because you need a lot of pressure and the sound is not really fine and it's not really coming, and you're very frustrated. So I advise everybody to buy a real good harmonica, not for 30 euros or for whatever, 30 pounds, but really for 200 or 250 or like this. Or I think the cheapest that makes sense is maybe 150 or whatever. And I also advise you not to buy used harmonicas, because used harmonicas are a certain risk of maybe something is not okay, maybe they're not that airtight anymore. You don't know what happened to them in the past, and I don't advise that. So that's that's the first thing. We have another piece. It's Bésame Mucho, And now we have the low notes and the low breathe-in notes that we were talking about. So this was
lovely, lovely. Thank you very much.
So Besame Mucho is very difficult for people who have problems with low breathing notes. It's not to breathe in, and it's yeah, a lot of low notes. So very important for playing, especially when you have a lot of breathing notes, is the nose. The nose can repair everything for you that is not really good, and when you have a lot of breathing notes, the nose can help you a lot with breathing. So you know that there's a connection between the nose and here. So that's not very easy to find if you don't have it yet. The didgeridoo players also have this kind of technique, but we just want to breathe in the same direction with the mouth. So if the mouth breathe out, the nose will also, and vice versa. So if you have a lot of breathe in notes, and then you have only one breathe out note, and then again breathe in note, what will happen to the breathe out note? It will be very loud, because you have to breathe in again something, and you have done a lot of breathing in before, and then the breathe out note is very loud. But you cannot have this, because you want to play a piece, and you want to have the kind of loudness and notes and melody that you want to play. So what happens is that when you breathe out this one note, for instance, with your nose also, then you're empty here, and you can breathe in again. Like when you have this thing here in the second, when you have Bésame mucho, this like the bar number 5, you have we have a PDF for that again. You have the first, you have breathe out the G 3 times. Again, you have one breath only, but then you do with a D. And we have also a PDF with numbers. That's the one without numbers. You have a, and then you have an A that's also breathe in, and then you have a B that's again breathe in. So you have 6 notes breathing in, and then you have only one breathe out note again, and then you again breathing in. So what happens is, what I do is, after the breathing in, the A and the B, perfect. I breathe out with the nose to play the C sharp, like it's bar number 5. So if you're not there already, that you can breathe with your nose and mouth again, you can really practice that if you hold your fingers on your harmonica under your nose, and then you have to see if you can feel your nose breathing. So again, this would be the thing. And also the beginning is not easy for Bésame mucho, because you have to breathe out first, because you have a lot of breathing in. You have 3 breathing in note, and the third note is very, very long. So, and it's also in the low section. So before I play Bésame mucho, I breathe out with my nose, and then I can breathe in the beginning. So the important thing is, again, that you play very soft, and that you make it with one breath. So what I do again is the D that we talked about with the tongue. You have only one breath. All the first 3 notes, the low D is with one breath. Yeah, and then there's there's one more D at the beginning of the triola. And then then the breathing in was a lot, and then the last note that's breathe out, that's the mucho, that's the G. It's in bar number 3. The G is again with the help of the nose. I breathe out more air. So that's really that Bésame mucho is really difficult to breathe. It's not that easy. And it's also very lyrical. It has to be lots of legato, so it's not really easy to play if you have any breathing problems. So even if you're a beginner, you can really try the first 4 bars. It's really not difficult. If you just before you play, you breathe out, and then you go. If you have struggles at the first 3 notes, then you did something extra with the breathing. Like if you play, This is extra. You can hear that it's not one breath. That's why it's not legato, and it's costing a lot of energy and a lot of air. And yeah, that's the important stuff. And what else? This middle part. It's the same. You can really, even if you're a beginner, you can pick a few bars in between, 3 bars, 4 bars, and you can practice a lot with that and record yourself and see if it's really regular, if you have soft notes, if you are playing legato, if everything is coming out fine. Also the breathe-in notes, the low notes. The important thing again with the low notes is that you're not having too much pressure and you're not sucking them like madly, and you're like really playing them very soft, because if they get too much pressure, they will come with a slight bend and they will come too late. Like you can bend also on the chromatic harmonica. I mean, the jazz players bend on the chromatic harmonica all the time, but if you're not bending on purpose, but if you're bending because you want to play a low note and you're really sucking it, and you're like with a lot of pressure and having the tongue somewhere up, and you're taking a lot of breath and you draw it, then it comes really, really bad, and it's not really has not this full sound that it should have. Also, the low note should have a full sound. And the full sound is only coming when you're opening up and you have it without pressure. Okay, I think that was the PDF was enough now. And yeah, so these are the main things. So the main things is to you try to not use too much energy, not too much pressure, not going away, play everything with one breath, and that is the main thing that I always advise for harmonica players, to have the basics.
Thank you very much, Isabella. Yeah, I think it's so important to be efficient. I'll ask for silent clapping for everybody now, and we'll take a few questions. So yeah, one of the questions that was asked was a good beginner question as well. How do you approach the duplicate notes on the harmonica? Obviously, you can play F in a variety of ways. You can play C natural and C sharp in a variety of ways as well.
So my experience as a teacher is that you should only try one possibility, because if you try it this way and this way, then you will lose maybe the feeling where you are. Because the thing is, you have to have every interval, every jump, you have to find everything, because other notes are also only there once, and you have no really benefit from using E sharp. You have no benefit, because you have to find every note, you have to find every jump, you have to find all the intervals, you have to whatever, you have to find it anyway. So have no benefit. It only makes you insecure when you have, sometimes you're playing a B sharp or a E sharp, and then you're not sure where you are, because you have a few ways to play that. So I play all the C's and 5 and 9. I only very, very random, there are some things with chords where it's only possible that you play like a B sharp or E sharp, certain chord things. But usually you're much faster and more secure if you only have it on one point.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I think that point of efficiency is really, I've been trying to say that to people for a long time, and you've just articulated it so brilliantly. Well done. Fantastic question as well. I think it was from David. I might have that wrong. He was just asking, what's your sort of personal process in approaching a new song when you're given a new song, or you think, I'm going to learn this? How do you strip it to its parts and take it apart?
Yeah, good question. um, the first thing for me is not only what kind of song it is, but what I can make with that song. How can I make it
Mm.
more interesting? I mean, I stopped playing classical music because with classical music you don't have that kind of
Yeah.
freedom. Yeah, and we've been to Brazil. And we played with Pablo Fagundes in very big Brazilian jazz clubs. Um, and we started this bossa nova thing a lot. And for us, it's important. How can I give some soul and something extra, and also with the guitar, what kind of extra can we do so it doesn't sound like everybody else? And we
Mm.
have some extra ideas about a song. But I mean, the basic thing is that you really have it legato and with impression, with expression, and with a lot of soul. And when you play it, then you get the ideas also what you can make with that. If you just try out something also with a guitar player, and you try something out new, and it's interesting. You develop something. That's the main part for me.
Mm. Mm. Hilbert had a wonderful question, and it's interesting that you've gone to Brazil and looked at bossa nova and sort of Latin American music, because one of the things that I suppose we haven't spoken about is the rhythms and the rhythms that you sort of approach there. He was asking any tips for playing more interesting rhythms and for just developing your sort of own internal metronome.
Yeah, I mean, this is not long enough the session to talk about rhythmical stuff in detail, but I suggest there are a lot of play-alongs in the internet where you can, for instance, Besame Mucho, and you're looking for a nice
Yeah.
bossa nova play-along. Also for Mania de Carnaval, everything that we did today is play-along in YouTube. And you can just practice with the play along, and then you get the rhythm. If you practice and hear and listen, and then you, because the Latin American rhythm is very complicated. It's complicated. It's complicated to count. So if you start counting this rhythm, it will come very, very edgy. It's not really fluently.
Yeah.
So the best thing is to feel it. And if you're listening to bossa nova or choro, which is the Latin American like folk music, it's very choro is very complicated. It's very complicated. But if you listen to that a lot, and you try playing with a play along, with the bossa nova play along, and you can really learn that from playing. Of course you can count it, but it's very boring, and you will not have the right result with that. And Pablo Fagundes, he is a very famous Brazilian player. He made a DVD that's available. You can check him out on Facebook or on internet. He made a DVD, and maybe he can send it as WeTransfer file. How to practice bossa nova with scales, with rhythm. He is a really good DVD
Fantastic. Interesting question. Something I've been analyzing myself, and I think is it gentleman's name, Tony, as well, was also asking about incorporating your diaphragm breathing. I've been using my diaphragm to play sort of very fast on the harmonica, but just talk us through, perhaps for more beginners and intermediates, how they sort of incorporate the diaphragm into their breathing pattern.
Yeah, the very difficult thing is to find it.
Yeah.
Because most people have problems to find here and here and here, and then they don't have the feeling for the diaphragm. But the thing is, if you practice like soft notes, slow notes, if you record yourself, and if you see if it's regular and if it's not sloppy, and deep breathing, that's the important thing, deep breathing, then you find your diaphragm, you find it. We even had I remember there was a group when I was teaching, and they had so many breathing problems. Then we laid on the floor, everybody on the back, and when you lay on the floor, then everything is more open, and you have a better feeling. So even that could be a possibility, that you lay in the bed, and then you practice like this, and then you find everything easier here. But it takes some time to find it. It's not that easy. But when you practice breathing and you record yourself and see if is that really smooth what I'm playing, is it, do I have any problems with, do I do this? Also, you can see this in the mirror. If you have this, it's not you cannot find a diaphragm. So that's important that you view yourself when you're playing and you have the feeling, so now my breathing is okay. That's the most, because if your breathing is not okay, you cannot play harmonica, because you're always fighting so much with everything that the melody and the rhythm and the bossa nova is not taking place, basically.
It's always a topic that fascinates me on any instrument, how you actually incorporate the body into it and how you set things up. They've got a idea called Alexander technique in terms of analyzing your movements to be as efficient as possible, as you were saying. We're coming to time. We've got about 5 minutes left. If there are any more questions, do put them in the chat. Somebody was asking what brand. It looked like a Suzuki you were playing there.
It's a Suzuki, right?
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. And any more tips? I suppose on articulation is one that always fascinates me. So you were going. Do you use other techniques? You were saying the da 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 and the ta 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 to get different things. Do you use other sort of techniques as well?
Well, I do a lot with opening, like here. Then the breathing comes different, and you have a big variety what you do with low notes, with long notes. I also use the tongue when I'm playing like jazzy. Like you can do some phrasing with that also. I do a lot with the long low notes. You can also have this kind of little tremolo in there. But the basic thing is that your breathing is 100% okay. If your breathing is okay, then you have the freedom to do something with the notes.
I was just reading in our chat, Roger, who I think you know quite well, was telling me that the North Koreans came to one of our festival once and absolutely blew everybody away. What tell us, because he said you went out there to do a quick workshop. We've only got about 5 minutes left, but
it wasn't a quick workshop. It was 4 months in North Korea.
Oh wow, okay, sure.
And they were here in this house for 1.5 years also.
Wow.
But they practice like mad. They practice, I don't know, 8 hours a day.
Jeez,
there was a lot of progress, and it was it was mind blowing. But I could see, it was one time in life where I could see what is possible if everybody practiced in a large group, because there I had 120 students. And we did concerts there in North Korea. Incredible. I couldn't do this in Europe, because when you have a group, somebody is not practicing, somebody is not, but if everybody practice and if everybody records and see what can improve and whatever, then you can have such a great result. I mean, I really saw that with the Koreans. Yeah.
I'm jealous now. I'd love to play for 8 hours a day. I think 3 or 4 hours is as much as I can ever do, and then life just interrupts. But yeah.
Well, I don't know if you know Franz Komel. He was a very famous Austrian player. He died, but he also played 8 hours a day.
Yeah, I know. There's a thing he did where he did some of his lecture notes are online, and I read them, and he said my minimum is 5 hours a day, or I just don't feel right. And I was like, oh, where'd you get the time?
But that's the thing. He started his big career when he was retired. He couldn't do it when he was working. And for me, I mean, I could not practice 8 hours because I have to earn money.
Yeah, exactly.
I teach harmonica, and I play concerts, and I play at book presentations, whatever. I have to earn money with concert and with teaching, and if I practice 8 hours, I cannot do any of that. That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to earn money with the harmonica, but I cannot earn that much money if I practice 8 hours a day. That's the thing.
Yeah, you're in a catch-22. That's a good point, actually. I'm going to make sure that your details are in the chat because I'm sure some of our viewers will want to have lessons with you. Do you do Zoom lessons and Skype
I do
lessons?
Zoom lessons, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. So yeah, folks, if you're interested, I think Isabella's website. Oh, it's just right there, and fantastic.
I can also
So
see
fantastic. You can
immediately
book
if
on
somebody has
Isabella's
something
website.
not right here, and I can really help with that.
Sure.
So
We've got about 2 minutes left. If somebody does want to just demonstrate a problem they're having, I'm happy to go back on my initial setting and unmute somebody if they want to show something very quickly.
Yeah.
Any takers? No, I think everybody's a little bit too shy now. You've put them on edge.
But I can be in the green room then for a few minutes.
That's perfect. I think we'll take that there now. So Isabella will be around for an informal chat in the green room now, along with myself. And I believe who's picking up? Well, we've still got a few minutes left, so I'll ask you a few more questions.
Okay.
When you're alone, this is one of my favorite questions to ask artists. When nobody's around and it's just you, and you've played the song 1,000 times before, but you look forward to playing it again, what song is that?
When I'm alone and no.
For me, it's probably Autumn Leaves. But...
Yeah, I play a lot of Autumn Leaves. Also,
yeah.
I play Bossa Nova because we have been to Brazil. And I play really Maya de Carnaval or Besame Mucho. We love that, and the audience loves it a lot.
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, and we have a lot of good memories with Brazil when we performed there in the jazz clubs, and it was really great. And yeah, I do that.
One of my other favorite.
But I have a guitar player at home, and we also play a lot
sure,
together.
so you got the perfect. Perfect setup. Yeah, I wish I had a guitar player at home I could jam with, but just my cat, as you saw earlier. But anyways, why I ask everybody this. I know you're in Vienna and the culture and the history is a little bit more prevalent probably where you are, but why pick up the harmonica? Why did that instrument speak to you? Why did you go for that?
Well, I got my mother, my family is very musically interested, and my mother was a pianist, and she wanted me to play piano. And this was back then it was so strict, and it was only Mozart and Diabelli sonata-ish, and you know, and I didn't like that, and it was very classical, only classical. And I also learned the percussion instruments, and I all learned singing and trumpet. So, but when I when I was in school, and I also played harmonica when I was very young. I got one, and I also really played very well, and you know, so but when I was at school, my headmaster asked me what I want to do after graduating, and I said I want to do something with music. I wasn't really, you know, whatever with music, and he said to me, Kindchen, that's like kiddie, like you cannot earn money while playing the harmonica, because he knew that I was playing harmonica. And I came home and I said, earning money with playing harmonica, that's it.
Nice.
So, and the thing is that in Austria, there's not so much harmonica playing. Also, it was back then, it was a lot, like 50 years ago, it was a lot of harmonica, like everywhere in Europe. But I figured out that I had a real chance there. I figured out it would not be easy because I was the only one here in Vienna, but I figured out that there was a chance because I was the only one. Yeah.
I know, like Roger Trowbridge, who's one of our exec committee. He does a lot of our history. I know you've done a lot of history of the harmonica and working with that. We are coming to time now, but I'd love to do an interview like full on with you for the magazine at some point.
Okay,
so,
great.
We can have a chat about that in the green room. And please, everybody else, if you want to chat more with Isabella, come see us in the green room. I'm going to pass back over to the guys. And
hi, everybody. Wow, amazing. Sam, well done. Isabella, well done. Thank you. That was fantastic information for anybody who's starting out on the chromatic harmonica. All that information about breathing and technique, I found extremely useful as a novice.
you.